Hello, welcome to Attract, Develop, and Retain. So I got to share something with you today. I had a really horrible event today happen. So imagine this: I'm getting out of the shower, 5:45 in the morning, and I get a phone call, and the guy, real deep voice, real like dark, you Alan David Duck, and started threatening me and started spewing out just like this most hateful stuff you've ever heard. I had him on speaker because I was drying off and I was getting ready to shave, and I had to get to work. And he was hanging up on me, and he was calling back, and he was texting, and what happened is I had him on speaker, and he was spewing out like very personal, detailed stuff about whatever. He was really unclear about why he was saying this stuff, but he very specific threats against my kids and my wife. Like he knew what time my kids get off the bus, and he was going to cut them with a chainsaw, and like all this like really, really horrible, gory stuff. So as much as I wanted to attack this dipshit, right? I had to put myself in a place where I had to get the information, right? I needed to know why this was happening. What would make someone at 5:45 a.m. call you with all this nonsense, right? That was really what was going through my mind. And I kept saying it to him. Why now? Like, first of all, you won't tell me why you're calling me, what's happening, and why now, right? So every time between him hanging up on me and texting and yelling at me and then hanging up, I would get a little piece of information. I'd get a little bit, another little piece. And I started just piling these little pieces up and eventually figured out who he was. So at the end of the story, his mom has worked for my mom for 20 years, right? And this lady's been a big part of the company, a big part of the guests' lives. She's been like ingrained in their routines for 2 decades. And he's mad that his mom is working. He feels that his mom shouldn't work. Now, his mom, my mom has cut her down, and she's actually had conversations with her that, maybe it's time, to retire, or just cut down to like 1 or 2 days a week. But just to give you an idea, this woman, she's like the 90-year-old relative at the wedding that has high heels on and dances like more than the young people. That's this lady, right? So it's just not who she is. This lady's probably going to work till she can't work anymore, right? It's part of her passion. It's what drives her. It's what makes her get up in the morning. She loves what she does, right? So it's less about her working at the store, and my mother more engages with this woman for her, right? For the woman, it helps her, it benefits her, it betters her life, right? So this guy's apparently he's the son, and he's mad, right? But he's a 36-year-old adult child who lives at home, and the mother and father take care of him and entitle him and empower him to sit on his lazy ass at home and do nothing and watch Law and Order all day or whatever he watches and be able to attack like this. But me, right? This ruined my day. This had a domino effect. It impacted everything I've done the rest of the day, right? And I have responsibilities. I have responsibilities to my employees, to my customers, to my family, but not this guy, right? This guy gets to sit at home and watch TV after he causes a chain of events like this, right? He gets to just, oh, well, I'm going to go back off and, eat a calzone or something. I don't know, whatever he does, right? So, the first thought that I had after the events, after meeting with the police and talking to them, because I want to do things right, as much as I, everything in my body wanted me to go out and attack this guy, right? And at any point in time, man, I can end this guy. But I didn't want to, I wanted it to be recorded. I wanted to do it the right way. So, I went to the police, I showed them everything. They took all the text messages, reams of them, and they were like, oh my God, how did you like not go kill this guy? Because I know the guy's got now that when I got to the end of it, the guy has a history of mental illness. He's not all there. If you read these text messages, it's evident that the dipshit is not all there. And I knew I was dealing with a big, gigantic, overgrown baby Huey. So, but some of the things that he said, there has to be accountability for. You don't say the kind of shit you said about my kids and my wife and just get away with it like that. The end, right? That there's accountability for that, and it's not gonna. There's going to be some legal ramifications because of that. I would be very happy if they just put me in a room with them for 10 minutes. That would solve it all. But I know that's not possible today. So, but the gifts, there were things that came out of this today. As pissed off as I was, as irritated as I was, I have this tool. I'm part of this program, and we have this tool. The program's called Warrior, and we have this tool called the Stack. And I unleashed and got my rage out in this tool, right? And I was able to reframe and flip around. I was able to flip the script on this whole event, and I was able to pull some good things out of it that happened. I wouldn't say good things, but I was able to pull some gifts out that made me reframe and think a little differently. One of the things was the way I showed up to work today, right? When I showed up to work, because of these chain of events, I wasn't all there. Like as I was walking in, a customer's, pulled me off to the side, said something to me, and I only half listened. As I walked around, an employee came to me with a problem, and I just wanted to make it go away, right? I got on the phone with a vendor and had to place a paper order, and I was very short with them. Not rude, but I was just, they wanted to talk, and I was like, okay, gotta go. Because my mind was somewhere else, right? At the end of the day, people only care about their problems, right? Their one little tiny thing, they stub their toe and it's like the sky's falling in, right? But as leaders and business owners, we get death by 1,000 cuts, right? We get thousands of little rocks thrown at us all day long. We have no choice but to problem solve and prioritize things, right? But other people don't get to do that. They have their one problem, it becomes our problem, right? This was specifically why I designed the SMART system, right? Because I was tired of events like this. I was tired of these trigger things that happened over here, and then there was this funnel down of events that eventually had an eruption, right? So it would fester, and then boom, right? Just like what happened today. This guy that has probably been irritated about this with his mother for a long time, but today at 5:45 a.m., the universe ruined my day, right? It became my problem, right? And this dipshit just gets to spew out his problem, and there's no consequences, right? And this happens all day long to business owners. This happens all day long to leaders. Now, it's not that people's problems should be, dismissed by any means, but, we have problems too. Leaders are people too. And today I had something weighing on me massively heavy, and I still have to not put on a mask, but I have to find a way to compartmentalize it and deal with the things I have to deal with, right? Because that's being a professional. Now, I wasn't short with people, but all of me was not there. On any other day of the week, I would have massively engaged with that guest. I would have massively engaged with that employee, right? I would have massively engaged with that vendor, but I didn't today. Today, the weight was heavy, right? And so that was one thing that I realized, right? The way I showed up. Another thing that was the time, right? I've got things that I'm working on. My day is very regimented. I call them hits, right? I got to do this. 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 And all of that got pushed because of these events, because my energy level was all over the place. My day became chaotic. I had disorder, right? And things that I didn't plan on got inserted and injected right in the middle. It was like the universe was like just ripping my timeline apart because of this. Now, there are things that they became urgent. I had to go do them. I had to go talk to the police. I had to go do this. But, that time is so precious. I'll never get it back. Now, here I am. I'm trying to do the third thing on my list at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock at night. And then what happens to your energy level when you start at 5 o'clock in the morning and, now it's 14, 15 hours later, and all of the events have drained you. How much energy can I put on this other business I'm building? I don't want to call it a side business. This is my business. How much energy gets deflated and pulled away from you, ripped away? Has this happened to you? The other thing is, any other day of the week, I would not have picked up that phone, but I picked that phone up today. Why? Now, as the day unfolded and as the events unfolded and as the, everything the dust settled, my mom had major things happen for her today And I feel God made me pick that phone up so she didn't have to deal with this shit. Because if this guy would have called her instead and spewed all this hate and nonsense to her, she would have been in a much different place. Could she have handled it? Yeah. But would it have, would she have exploded to the moon? Probably. Right. And I was more apt today to deal with it and handle it in a calmer fashion, and not go attack this guy. So that was another gift that I got today, is that maybe I was meant to pick that phone up to help somebody else. So when I left, I'm sorry, when I came home from the police department, and I just stopped at my house to grab a shirt and change real quick, I grabbed the mail, and in the mail was this thing called Mel Science that I do with my kids. And it's like a science kit thing that we get once a month, and it's like a subscription service. And it's just a way that I can connect with my little guys. So I threw it on the counter, and I didn't think much of it, with the pile of mail, and I left. But now as I sit here, right as I hit the end button from talking to you, I'm going home and doing a Mel Science with my kids. So go love your kids tonight, love your husband or wife, and be with your family. Ciao for now.